White guilt.
Let's talk about it. Because I think people feel differently about that whole thing. But again, it went back to like when Joey grows up, whose side does he think I'm on?
Right.
And that's the most important part.
Being a part of that, part of whatever group when you're the other can be because I don't think that you're solving anything, right? I know, and I think everyone, I've actually heard stories of other folks who are in a group and, you know, you've got one Mexican friend in the group and everyone's talking about Mexicans. And they're like, not you, we like you, right? Or, and I've heard this with black people. I've been in the middle of the conversation where white people being racist, and then I'm like, what the? And they're like, not you, we're not talking about you. Yeah, but you're talking about every other black person. Like, why is it that I get to be excluded? And it is because I am not the other.
Right.
I get brought in somehow, but that's still their view of the other, right? Somehow I get to be an exception. And my worry is that when you're in that situation, when I was younger, I didn't extricate myself from them nearly fast enough. Now I don't tolerate them, right?
Yeah.
Again, my favorite joke is totally a racist joke, right? So it's not that I don't tolerate them if there's some fun involved. I like funny as much as anyone else. But I think there's, like, you don't want people, Joey in particular, to be around that group of people being the exception to the other.
Yeah.
But because now you're getting drawn into that, like, oh, maybe that is all the other ones but me, right? And so now you're starting to get that same point of view, which makes it worse when you're from that group, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still think that you've done the right thing because it's, I know how it was when I was younger. I know a lot of black people that I talk to. I also know a lot of white people that grew up in black neighborhoods where there is that talk of the other, but not you, and you start getting this skewed point of view of the other that you're a part of, right? And so that can be that can fuck people up for quite a while.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay, here's something, and I don't know if it's about white guilt but it is something interesting. So, you know, a white couple that adopts a black child, and I always like to tell people, like, the birth mother chose us knowing we were white. Like, it was a choice.
Right.
And, you know, we get looks, or we get just kids going, he's your son, you're his mother, you know, whatever, that's fine. But I was stopped, and this was when Joey, thank God, was very young and couldn't really understand, you know, he was a baby, he was on me, but the only person that's ever stopped me was a black man. And he wanted to know if he was adopted, because he didn't know, I guess, if I had a black husband or not, but you know. So he said yes, and he wasn't mean, or maybe rude, I don't know, but he just proceeded to tell me that he really did not approve of white people adopting black children, and that I shouldn't do it. And because he was black, I think I let him speak. Like, if there's a white person, there's no fucking way I would have, you know what I'm saying? Shut the hell up. But because he was a black man, and it was during some really awful stuff in the news, there was stuff going on, so I just listened, and I knew that Joey went above his head. Like, if it was right now, I would have been out of there, and not because I don't want anyone to hurt, like, have Joey, you know, but he was so young. He was looking at trucks. So he didn't really understand the conversation, the serious conversation that's happening. But it was pretty brutal. Yeah. And I am finding that, like, we are a part of an amazing homeschool of color group that's just inclusive and amazing. But on the periphery of that, you know, with Facebook, you find out how people feel about things. And some people on the periphery are like, they do not believe in biracial adoption. Yeah. And we were like, wow. Okay. And everybody's allowed to have their opinion, but it is really like, wow, what do I do with that? You know?
You don't do anything with it, right? I think some people have that opinion, and there may be some legitimacy to it. I don't agree, but I get where some of those people are coming from, right? And there's a couple places. This guy in particular. The odds, I'm taking some guesses. Someone's going to be, oh, I know an example of the one example. Right. It's not that, right? The odds that a black couple can adopt a white kid are probably really, really, really much slimmer, right? So there might be some of that privilege again. Oh, you get to adopt a black kid, but I couldn't go adopt a white kid, so just don't do it now. right? So I think there's some to that. Some people just feel like you can't understand the culture, and
yeah, I think that was part of it.
Yeah, and maybe that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that matters, right? I think we're back to sort of a segregated thing. I think as we get, well, this is hope talking, but I think as we're growing in generations, I think I personally am seeing that racism is a little bit less, but there's still a lot of old racist people out there, right? That's skewing things in one direction or the other. But also, your grandma's racist, the odds that you're a racist are a lot better, right? So it's not that things would go just, a new generation, racism's gone. That is not the case at all.
No.
But I can see that some people would say like, yeah, so where's, what music are you guys listening to Motown when you're in the house? Like what stuff, like no matter what happens in your house, you two are white people in the house where Joey's growing up, right? And how different would that household be from a black house? Yeah. Now, we also know it is very possible that it's not different, right? I love Billy Joel, right?
So do I.
Right? So Joey's in my house, he's listening to probably the same music you're listening to, unless you listen to country, in which case he doesn't get to hear any of that, right?
Right.
So the thing is that there is enough of the Venn diagram crossover that it might not matter, but it could matter, right?
Well, we are very aware that, and I know that I'm super white. Like, I know I'm super white. I mean, I grew up in a town with no black people.
Yeah.
That's why I moved away. It's a great town. I mean, that's really good.
It's an awesome town.
But I moved to LA right into a place where I was the minority, and it was like this amazing thing. But we are very aware. Again, but we don't know what we don't know, so we're always learning. But like, we're aware that like, wow, a lot of the songs that we listen to are by white people. Right. Not everybody, but we're like, we need to make sure that we are more aware of the books that we have out. Like, someone just wrote like, and this was a black mom with her kids, but she's like, I would buy magazines with black people on the cover and just have them in the house so that you grow up knowing how important you are. Yeah. And that they're, and that was a regular family.
That's actually really good.
Isn't that brilliant? Yeah. So we're trying to do those things and listen to music that we wouldn't necessarily always listen to, so we're conscious of that. I'm sure we'll miss.
Sure.
You're
gonna miss all those Medea movies, probably.
Probably.
You probably are right, though. Probably all right. You can't do all the things, right?
Right. You can't do all the things.
Again, this is back to the trying. I think as long as you're trying, that's great. Is it a loving home? Those are the things that really matter, right? So, again,
and it does matter that we are very. It does matter that he's around black people as much as possible,
right?
Because he's around white people a lot,
right?
But we're conscious of that, but you have to be. That's the thing, is like, you have to be conscious of it.